most comparisons for different sources of power talk about one number. And there's a term people use, grid parity. When will RE, renewable energy, be the same cost as normal or traditional energy? And the term grid parity is misleading because all of the calculations are based on assumptions. Fuel prices may change over time, especially for coal. In renewable energy, you have large upfront investments and then energy over time. So how do you take things over different time periods and bring them into one number? That is a process that involves assumptions. And so one of the things we do in this is create a simple model that is open to the public. So please download it, change the assumptions, and then really compare what is the cost of renewables today versus traditional fossil fuel like coal. One has to be very careful. If one is an end user and you're paying, for example, 8 rupees a unit as a retail customer tariff, for you, renewables at 7 rupees may sound very attractive, but the problem is 7 rupees is the cost of generation. And if you do it at your rooftop or on your property, it's very different than a utility buying energy at a price, but then adding transmission and distribution costs, grid management costs. These are functions that the grid provides today. One cannot compare grid bulk costs with end user retail costs. So that's a common challenge in doing calculations for grid parity and comparisons, and we dig into this in this volume. If we don't do this well, in the West, we have already seen what is called the utility death spiral. What that means is, as consumers opt for renewable energy on their own, and as well as storage and smart grids, that reduces their consumption from the grid. As they reduce their consumption on the grid, then we also see the grid's cost going up because you're serving poor or harder to serve customers, and you still have to keep the grid in balance, which is now more expensive. Now, as the grid gets more expensive, more people leave the grid and so forth. So this transition is a worry, and the question ahead of India is, how can we make this a managed transition?